Right, so 150 to go.
Cool.
Uh,
I'm just streaming my end as well, but it's more so I can look back later and see how badly I've messed it all up.
Again, it's just practice, and for me, I learn more from things going wrong than anything going the way it should.
How do I get it? So, like, when you change drivers, are you changing it manually throughout the race, or is it automatically doing that?
What was the question again?
When you, at the minute, I'm just on Lorenz, just watching his
Hmm.
car go round. Can you change that?
Yeah, it's in race control. You just double click on the name to swap to their car.
Yeah, what I mean is, can you do it so that it automatically does it?
But automatically swaps from driver to driver.
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of.
And on this standings overlay as well, mate, sorry to be a pain in the arse, I've only got
Hmm.
5 drivers showing.
Oh, let's see if you go in race labs.
Yeah.
Standings. Uh, I have no idea why.
Yeah, I've only got 5 showing. So I
Uh,
might just go back to the standard ACC stuff because this isn't working for me.
yeah,
Oh, I've got
number
6 now.
of. Oh, you're right. Number of top drivers. It's a pro feature.
Oh, brilliant.
So yeah, that's actually. So I'm showing top 25. Okay, so the timer has run out. I'll play the intro video now.
Okay.
So the intro is playing, and I'll let you know once. After the intro is done, we'll play the whole standings thing, and I'll do the intro while we're listening to the standings. So I'll unmute us now, so stay quiet until I do the intro.
Okay.
We are finally back. It is season 7, and we are now looking at the sun setting on Indianapolis before a night race while we're looking at the current standings, which of course everyone has 0 points right now. With me here now is Chris, who will be doing comms with me this season. It's a pleasure to have you in the studio.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here at a very very dark but pleasantly warm Indiana in America tonight. So yeah, I'll let you do your ramblings, but I'm excited to get going with this one.
Yeah, we have a few minutes left of practice, or 13 minutes actually. As they are racing around here at night, we're currently following Lawrence, who has this season switched to the Porsche. Right now, the fastest driver on track is Van der Haar in his Aston Martin. So, did you follow the guys last season?
A little bit. A friend of mine is one of the drivers in here who, weirdly enough, I've just flicked him on my camera and he's spinning wildly off track. So hopefully he's getting his bad driving out of the way early. It's the chap in P4, number 26 Aston Martin of Josh Friedman. He's a driver I followed from through last season, but I know a lot of these guys from past times anyway. So yeah, I followed it a little bit last time. It's a very competitive split. So the pro split is a lot more wide open, whereas you tend to find with these guys the skill gap isn't as large as you can get with some of the higher up alien chaps. the racing is just as good, it's just as clean, it's just as frivolous. But yeah, it's a lot more close, and obviously with a new opening, new physics update that came through mid last season, the drivers have now had a bit of time to get used to it and get used to the cars. So we're going to have a lot more. It's going to be a lot more settled than last season, I think.
I'm definitely looking forward to it. Right now, we're looking at Lee Bouillon in the new Ferrari, which until I saw the top antenna, I thought that car looked just stunning. I think they removed it from the press images.
Yeah, it's a quiet car in real life, you know, that Ferrari. It's the V6 Turbo, I think they are. I went to the real Spa-Francorchamps last week actually, and these things in real life don't really make much noise, but they are quick.
Yeah, I think definitely we're gonna have an exciting season. I see a lot of new names here compared to when I followed the split last season. We do have, Christian mentioned, we have some new drivers coming in, but also there's some familiar guys, but who are now in different splits. And when we're talking about the different splits, we are following the silver and the AM splits here today. And we will do our best to keep track of them. We had a little bit of server issues that kind of threw us a curveball before the broadcast. So we're going to have to refer to Sim Racing GP to try and keep track of who's in which split, but we'll do our best.
I think that'll go out the wayside halfway through, mate, if I'm being brutally honest. We'll get about 3 laps in and it just won't work, will it? But we'll try, you know, there's 2 of us, so I think between us there's a few brain cells there at least.
Yeah, we'll rub our 3 or 4 accumulative brain cells together.
So, early predictions then. So we've got 10 minutes of this practice session left before we head into a short quali. What's looking like your favourite for the time being? Who's looking spicy for you?
Well, what I am actually very curious to see is actually he does not look to be here. He might have moved up to the Pro M split because I had the pleasure of following Shmulevsky to his first season win last season, where at the beginning of the season he was always quick, but he was kind of all over the place when it came to consistency. And then this season he has switched cars, so I'm curious to see if he can stay on that consistency he built up in the Ferrari, or if he will have a similar story this season.
I think
he was meant to race in the silver.
No, he's in Pro-Am. He's not listed, so he's in Pro-Am. Just checked.
It was meant to race in silver, but then he's been moved up, which is absolutely deserved by the way he raced at the end of last season.
Very fast.
So for those who don't know you, Chris, do you want to add a little bit about yourself?
I'm not sure there's much to say, mate. If I'm being brutally honest. So as you introduced, I'm Chris. I did race in this series. I have for 3 or 4 seasons. I'm just giving myself a break and getting involved with some behind the scenes stuff for the community instead. So just talking bollocks instead of racing it. I've done sim racing. I like my endurance stuff. I did all the endurance stuff last season. Yeah, there's not much to say, matey, to be honest. Hopefully, if any questions, they can obviously fire them away. But I'm not really all that interested, if I'm being honest with you.
Well, I mean, you definitely have some experience with streaming and stuff, like you have told me in private. So I'm very happy to have you here. With all these broadcasting things, like I mentioned before the stream, it's always learning experience, and it's kind of a lot to focus on to begin with. So I'm definitely happy to have someone here with me to engage in conversation with, and who can share their wisdom from racing. Because you have raced more than I have. I raced here for 1 season.
Little bit of wisdom that's cracking on. Yeah, I've done a fair bit. I've done a fair bit of racing. I was in the pro split last season. After winning Pro-Am the season before, so yeah, Indy's not a track I've driven in a while, in fairness, especially not at night. But it's a very enjoyable track once you get in the groove of it. It will certainly favour those mid-rear engine cars, such as the Porsche and the new Ferrari. I would expect to go quite well here. But a lot of this is going to be strategy, mate. That pit lane is huge here at Indianapolis. So if you can time your pit stop right, and if you can get it when everyone else's tyres are starting to cook a little bit off, that can be worth 2 seconds a lap.
we're doing for one of the episodes on the podcast we just started later, an episode of how necessary strategy is for a 1 hour race. Sounds like you're convinced it's quite important.
Yeah, so with the tyre model in ACC, once you hit sort of the 45-minute mark, you do notice a little bit of tyre degradation. Depends on your driving style, depends on the car, depends on the track and the conditions. So tonight we're looking sort of 20 degrees track temp, not much wind about. The cars themselves, they shouldn't tear the tyres up too much here. With it being a clockwise circuit, that front left is the one that's really going to take some pain. Especially given those two high-speed right-handers we've got here. They on this circuit, I don't know if you know that it's diamond cut. So what that means is actually quite rough on those corners, and it even simulates that in the sim as we see a Porsche smash into the wall on my screen. Yeah, so you will.
We can't forget the new patch when we're talking about tire wear, actually, because I've heard people say that the tires wear so much quicker now.
It will do, yeah. So it'll go through the heat cycle differently than what a lot of these drivers are used to when they're doing the 1 hour races. It used to be very gradual. There is a lot more. You get an initial heat cycle. So the first opening laps, really, you've got to be as gentle on the tyres as you can do. Avoid the lockups. Typically run quite a high TC and ABS to prevent you scrubbing your tyres too hard. And then once you've got a few laps under your belt, you can really start to build on the tyres and lean on them again. But 45 minutes in, you really do notice a degradation in that performance from the tyre. So I would sort of expect a lot of drivers, especially those that are in packs, pit early, get out the traffic, get some clear air, don't scrub your tyres and just take a nice easy cruise to the finish line. Those guys at the front, they're going to be the four leaders in the strategy, so they're going to have to make a very decisive call. Do they pit early and risk losing the performance later on, or do they hold out, watch the gaps, and as soon as that gap starts to shrink to P2, dive in the pits, get some fresh boots on, and try and get a good pit stop under the belt? Of course, if you speed in the pit lane, that's game over as well. That's a stop-go 30 straight away.
Yeah, it's I know Thomas Hagen last season had kind of a few unlucky incidents where in one race he got a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and then on his way to serve it, he got another one.
Yeah, it can unravel so easily, because once you get one, you know you've got a pit. You're so frustrated with yourself for getting at it. It happened to me. I had the exact same thing. I think it was Monza last season, and it was 1 kilometre over. No, it wasn't Monza. It was Kota, and it was like 1 kilometre over. But I then got another one afterwards, and that's it. That's 2 minutes on your race time straight away. And with me saying the length of the pit lane here earlier, it really is a long pit lane. You're trundling at 30 miles an hour for what seems like an eternity here. And you don't really miss any corners either. You're on that entire front straight really slow. Yeah, it's a long time if you just sat there.
Yeah, so when we're talking about lap times here, what do you think we're going to see from the faster guys? Right now, Lewis Knight has a 138.012 down as the fastest lap of this session.
I would fully expect the chaps at the minute to be running race fuel setups. So they at the moment won't be, well, some might be, but I'd probably expect the guys at the top not showing the hand just yet. I'd expect them cars quite heavy on fuel and quite a conservative setup. I'm just on board with a couple of them now, and they are taking it quite easy. I reckon a mid 37 is probably going to be the pace setter for a good pole position lap here, but we'll see.
You just gave me the perfect segue to our little track guide for this track. We have a hot lap driven by Thomas Hagen, where he had a 137.6, so that's pretty close to your predictions. I'll put it up on stream here right now, and that's pretty close to. Yeah, we don't have audio out right now, actually. That's fine.
Yeah, I've got.
You can remember if I had set my audio to not be over the guide or not.
Well, we have on my stream, but I'm not playing a video at this moment in time either, so it doesn't really matter. But let's just gloss over that. In fact, let me get my race control back. I'm trying to multitask. I need more screens, mate. That's what I need.
It's I have two, and I'm like, if I'm gonna keep doing this, I need fucking 3 screens,
I'm getting that way.
or at least one of them
Yeah.
to be a widescreen.
Yeah, well, I've got a widescreen, but you know, because I'm running full screen for the game, I can't utilise the extra space now.
Yeah.
I need to.
Guess you could start running the game in window mode if you want to.
You know what, mate? I've tried, but it won't work. It won't. It won't window.
I haven't tried myself, so.
No, well, it's me being an idiot. That's all it is. I'll sort that. Don't worry. But yeah.
Yeah, so Thomas is now moving through turn 10, now turn 11 on his hot lap around the track at night.
Hesitated on entry there.
Yeah. So
it's the thing. If that corner, you can pick up so many track limits as well. So that's going to be something to watch. It's a shame we don't get a view as to how many warnings are on. I don't think we do we?
We do actually. If you go to the click on the pencil thingy. Oh, he's about to finish his lap.
Okay. I'll let you talk. I'll have a look.
Yep.
Oh, on log. Yeah, I can see.
And there it was, on 137.6, driven by Thomas Hagen, who is on the steering team this season, even though he's not driving. I asked him to do a hot lap for me, and what he has done now is get all the stewards to drive hot laps on all the tracks on the calendars. So, at least in the beginning, I'm not sure how many stewards are on the team right now, but at least in the beginning we'll get to see a new steward putting down a hot lap every week.
Well, I'm one of them, so I wonder what track I've got to drive.
Yeah, so we were talking about track limits.
We were,
watching the video. Which corner again did you say that we had to be watchful of?
If I just grab my little handy track map that I got ready for earlier, probably looking at turn 12 is a hot spot, because you're so tempted to cut that inner curve. If I just try and find a driver that's going near there now. So yeah, if we go on board with Brewer in P10, car 316. That corner
Brewer,
there,
right
oh yeah, we might have just missed him.
Let me find another.
Yeah, so well, if we just go to car 24, that's going to be the next one to hit it. Who's car 24? Lorenz. I'd expect he will get this quite nicely. So he's going through a bit of a chicane now, and then you have to set yourself up on the left, and you have to. There's no turning point that's obvious. You have to feel it, and it's a right-hand. The optimum track time is by getting as much of your car over that white line as you can without breaking track limits, and you might see one or two drivers really push it there in the early stages and then be really careful because they're on 2 or 3 warnings. The final corner's not so bad because the optimum line is quite a way away from the curb anyway. You just sort of skim it. And the good thing about Indianapolis is you've got punishing curbs on the inside of any of the corners that really matter anyway, so it's not the worst one to do.
I'll try and pay attention in the software, because we do have logs of laps completed and lap times. We also get reports of possible contact, but I'm not sure if we do get if we get invalidated laps. I think we'll see it, but I'm not sure if we get track warnings.
Well, worst case, mate,
racing.
we'll see a stop go 30 pop up or drive through pop up on the screen, and we sort of know what's happened, don't we? So for day one, we'll wing it, mate. You know. So that is free practice done and dusted. We're about to jump to quali now.
Yeah, we're waiting for Patton, who's still out on track. Same goes for Christie and I'm not sure how to pronounce the name, but it looks like I should actually try and do it in the Norwegian way. So I'm going to say Elshaug.
Elshaug. I don't know, and he'll probably flame me on Discord for getting it horribly wrong, and it will be well deserved.
I'm saying on almost every stream that I apologize for any names I get wrong.
I'll try my best.
After all, I'm a Norwegian doing my best English impression here.
Well, I'm an Englishman doing his best English impression. Right, so free practice just for those that are out there. The fastest driver was car 26, Friedman, in the Aston Martin.
Yeah, which is cool to see, because if I'm not mistaken, he is still in the AM split. So he keeps... I just got confirmation from Thomas. Elshaug is in fact Norwegian, so that's an easy one for me.
So you really have no excuse for getting that wrong, then, do you?
Yeah, I think I got it more or less right.
Yeah, well, I think
Might depend a little bit on where in Norway he's from. So I'm looking for Friedman here.
It's a
He has
half-hour
actually
quali.
been moved up to the silver.
Oh right, are they still doing the thing where it's even and odd numbers?
No, they're doing now. We are getting AM first. So AM has the first half of the qualifying session for the next 15 minutes, and then after that, it's Silver's time to get out on track.
Then I'm thinking of a different server. Right, so first one to set the lap's going to be Mr. Tetley. He's been a bit of a Porsche veteran for a couple of seasons. He's moved his way over to a Italian mark now in the Lamborghini, the new Evo 2. A very fancy paint job he's got on there. In fact, I didn't sync my liveries. Naughty me. So if anyone's yeah, if I'm not showing any liveries,
I finally figured out the livery syncs because the app was down. I went on Discord and saw just a million people complaining about the same thing, but someone had a fix. So luckily on the official stream we can see Tetley's lovely racing or Ross Racing livery.
Yeah, I'm missing the logos on my thing, but you know, there we go.
It's what it is.
It is. So who've we got here then? We've got Hansen, Kolb, Tetley, Jardine, Wang, Stancer, Pattenden and Cook. D'Agostino, Elshug and Follows. That's out there. So quite a few drivers in this split.
We can see following Tetley right now, and he is actually utilizing the track pretty well even on his outlap.
Yeah, getting his invalidations in early.
Zigzagging bullshit on him right now.
Not at all.
And about to cross the line and start his first proper lap. But something guys between following quite tightly.
Yeah, so they
Either
really
they
should have
to create a gap, or
yeah,
they are expecting Tetley to be very, very fast.
This is the thing. I know, you know, I think me and you are on a similar wavelength here. I was looking at the track map, and there's not a lot of gaps between some of these guys. Indianapolis isn't a short circuit. There's enough space there to have a really good gap. One of the main things for qualifying, it's a 15-minute session for these guys. Get your gaps. You don't. It's not a race. You can sit. You can get there, get your tyres up to temperature. You don't have to do it at racing pace. Find a gap that works for you. Obviously, they don't know each other yet in terms of who's going to be the fastest, who's going to be the slowest. Am I going to catch him? Is he going to catch me? But there's enough room on this circuit, so they don't need to rush.
Yeah, definitely. It's they are starting to spread out a little bit, but Tetley is being followed quite tightly by, I think it's car number 20, which should be. There is no car number 20. I made my track map for my own reference a little too small. See, I'll see if I can make it bigger without ruining everything.
I've got one of the McLarens just had a bit of a whoopsie on his fast lap there. Then that's that lap ruined for Elshug. Fortunately, he is in a world of space.
That's good. So Tetley is being followed by car 22 is the correct one. The gap seemed to actually have increased a little bit, and we have right now Wang setting the fastest time in a BMW, which we didn't catch on the stream, sadly. But Tetley did get to put his. Wait, actually, I'm not sure if he set a valid lap on his first attempt.
Yeah, he's not showing one for me. He might have just. Yeah, he's not set a lap time yet. He might have just invalidated his lap when he tried. The early pace
it actually
of 38.6.
Looks like I'm not getting reports of invalidated laps here, which for the ACC race control developer, that's a future note, something we could wish for.
Okay.
Oh, and a spin there for Tetley on his second hot lap attempt.
So
someone who is looking to improve by quite a bit right now is Nathan Follows, who is on a delta of 0.8 seconds almost in his number one Sprite Porsche.
You jinxed him because he's just lost it. Hansen is improving though. He's 8 tenths up on his lap, but he is 2 seconds off the pace, so I would expect. And again, another thing to consider, mate, is have they all taken 15 minutes worth of fuel? or are they
That's a
doing?
good point.
You know, are they planning just to do 2 fast laps and then come into the pits, get some fresh boots on, and then refuel and go out again? So that, you know, everyone might have a slightly different run plan. And judging by Wang coming into the pits, he might be doing just that.
I remember personally, and here we see Nathan going off the track. These guys are really pushing as hard as they can on their laps here.
I'm just watching Hansen, currently in P6, 2 seconds off the lead, he's about to cross the line, he's 6-7 tenths up on his delta. This could put him a place or 2 up. Let's have a look. No, it has improved, 40.0. He just lost a little bit at the end, so he stays P6 for the time being.
So right now the pressure is still on D'Agostino, Tetley, Stancer, and Cook to set Valley laps. They do still have almost 10 minutes left, but it might be an idea for some of them to just get a safety lap in at this point.
Yeah.
Stancer there jumping
strategy.
to third.
Oh, good lap there. 39.0 for Stancer. That's a nice lap. 4-5 tenths off the pole time in the McLaren, which is nice.
Jardine also currently in fifth, set to improve by a little bit. Not enough as of now to jump up on the board, but still gaining time over his previous lap.
Oh, has he been compromised there by the Aston Martin? I think he was. I think Pattenden just outbraked himself ahead of him, and that might have put Jardine off. He's still positive delta, but he has lost a little bit.
He is approaching the point where he might be able to gain a position, but he doesn't have too much left of the lap to do it. Not really nailing the exit. Did move up to second.
Oh, nice lap.
So my gaps must be gap to leader and not gap to next car.
Yeah, I think that. I think you might be right. Hansen goes for an bop spinneroo there in the gravel, but manages to keep the Mercedes rolling.
See, D'Agostino has also now put himself in fifth, having gotten a decent lap down on the board. I'm now following Stancer, is also set to improve by a bit. As of right now, it would put him in first if he could keep that lap time going. I remember racing Stancer a bit on Thursdays and having this one race where I had the goal of not being last, and I was lucky and got ahead of Chris after he had a slip up, and then after that I was just being a huge asshole when defending, to the point where I felt like I had to apologize to him after the race.
I'm sure he'll love you telling that story.
Not losing that position that I probably made an illegal defending move or two.
Cook goes pole. 37.6.
Nice. So the pole, yeah, that's on par with what Thomas put down, more or less exactly.
Now that is nearly a second faster than Wang, who was our pole sitter. That lap is gonna take some beating there for Cook, who up to that point hadn't set a lap. Remember, we're still waiting for a couple of drivers to put a representative lap on the board. I think Tetley's just done it. He's in P6.
I'm following Patner right now. He has a 1.2 positive delta as he's approaching the line. It's not enough to put him at the very top, but it's a second position. He was the fastest guy during practice, but again, they might have been, like you mentioned, driving different fuel loads.
Yeah, quite potentially. There's a bit of a sob story unraveling, I'm afraid. Elsug, I'm gonna butcher your name, mate. Was on another lap, invalidated it. He's gonna have probably just 2 more shots at this to actually get a lap set. He's struggling in this session.
Yeah, let's take a look here and see if he can get a lap in. He should try to go for a safety lap at this point, in my opinion, just to have something on the board. But I don't know, he's not been racing with us before, so this might be his first competitive season, which means he's gonna learn a lot during this season for sure. I definitely did when I came in here the first time, having only driven public lobbies, which can be a danger of its own.
Trial by fire. That I was just watching Bakker on my screen in the Audi. He was 6 tenths up, which would have been good enough to put him in P3, and he just got a bit too brave on the brakes coming into turn 11 and dropped it deep. So he's probably going to get 1-2 more chances at this. as we see follows. If you want to have a look at him,
Yeah,
he's
they have.
going quite
They do
quick.
have 5 more minutes, so they do have time to pit if they want to, and they are allowed to finish their current lap while the other drivers are on their out laps, as far as I remember, as long as they cross the line before that 15-minute mark.
I think you're right. I think you're right. I've been out of the game for a little bit too long, but I think you are bang on there. We are looking at optimum track positions here in Indianapolis. We've got a bit of a warm track today, so that'll actually help these guys in qualifying, because you'll be able to get your tyre temps bang straight up to temperature without really having to do much in the way of preparation to do that. But the question then remains is, have they got the tyre pressures correct? Is the setup right? Are they boiling the tyre? Because I'm seeing a lot of mistakes at the end of the lap.
He's crossing the line here and putting himself in 11th.
Excellent. I'm so glad he's got a lap in. 41.3. He's not going for another one. I think he's going to call that one quits, and he'll just do his hard work in the race. Cook is. You might want to flick to Cook, my friend, because he is about to set records.
Oh, that's quite a bit of improvement. Cook here with a second
Wow.
of improvement almost on his previous lap.
What a lap!
136.6.
That Mercedes is singing tonight. It's the front wheel drive cars. We've got a front wheel drive top 3 here.
Telly here going wide. He had almost half a second of improvement.
I'm a little bit surprised that the front wheel drives are working so well here. It might be the warmer temperatures, it might be the way they're working the tyres, but they are flying.
Cook is on the other lap here, and he's still improving.
And at the minute, there is no one.
0.2 positive delta.
There is no one troubling. Even Wang, who is on an improved lap, isn't. He might get himself into P2 here, but he's not looking like he's going to get pole. No, he's a little bit too far away for the time being.
What's always interesting to see is once these guys go in and we have the silver drivers out on track. Because during the previous season, we often saw in qualifying a lot of the the Sprite Porsche of I think that was Nathan Follows having a spin there. But yeah, like I was about to say, we often saw last season that the AM guys during qualifying were challenging some of the silver drivers. It's going to be interesting to see here how the actual pecking order for the racing will be when they get out on track. Because, of course, they're not racing each other for position, but it's natural to always want to try and get ahead of the guy in front of you. And Cook crossing the line there, not improving with as much as he was set to possibly do, but still having a banger of a lap time on the board there.
I think those that didn't come in for a tyre change are starting to struggle now with the temps. We're not seeing much in the way of improvements anymore for these for this group of drivers. So I think Cook's time that might be the time. I think
a lot of them are in the pits right now, but they do still have time for one more attempt if they want to go out for an out lap. Or actually, they might not. 1 minute left until we see the silver guys coming out on track.
If they're not out on track already on a prep lap, they're not getting one in, basically. We've got a couple that have sort of retired early and will be sat there having a nice cup of tea before the race starts. I think Cook might have just invalidated that lap he was on. He's down anyway. Wang and Bakker are both
still out on track
improved.
here, having improved in Sector 1 and being 0.3 ahead of his previous time as he's about to finish Sector 2.
Yeah, the problem for Bakker is he's been losing that time in Sector 3. He's about half a second off Cook's best Sector 3 time. That's where he's losing all his pace in that Audi. I think it's working its tyres too hard. Oh, that's a nice tidy corner there though by Bakker. Just 2 more to go until he can really squirt that Audi down. It's really good out of the corners, the Audi, but getting it stopped and rotated
Nailing
is an
that
issue.
exit right there.
Really nice.
By half a second on his lap time in that corner alone.
Really nice. This might be good enough to jump him up a couple of spots. He's got a good drive out. Bakker, oh, it's not enough. Just not enough. 38.1. It is. How close? 0.02 of a second off from Wang there. Really close
Wang
quality.
still also. Oh, and going wide there. He was looking to improve, but missed the braking zone in corner 4.
Tetley just jumps himself up to P7 then at the flag. As I think now we are starting to see some of the silver grade drivers out on track.
That is correct.
A contingent
So
led
let's see
by.
some of these. Let's see these more experienced drivers space themselves out more evenly. Looking at the track map right now, it does look like they are.
Well, this is where, and Josh will watch this back later. He's got to win this race now, or I'm calling him a fraud. So let's see what he can deliver. He'll be the first of our silver drivers to set a time. I still think that little second pack there, unless that is still the other drivers, they're too close. They need to separate.
It does look like car number 22 is still out on track, which belongs to. Oh, that's Ike Sky. Never mind. He's supposed to be out on track, so he's just going out a bit later than everyone else, making sure he has a good gap.
I'm just going to ride on board then with Mr. Friedman and just watch how he does things. So I'll keep an eye on this.
Yeah, I'm watching him as well as he starts his lap here, going into turn 1, hitting the curb well.
He's just had a car come out in front of him though. Car 148, whoever that is, has just come out bullying. Shouldn't be an issue for him. He's far enough away not to affect him. But you do get a little bit of aero draft in these cars. If you're within a certain distance at a certain speed, your front aero will start to get limited as the wash off the car ahead starts to really affect your turn in and your mid-corner aero speed. Obviously that Aston Martin front engine's really heavy V8. It does go deep into the corner, has to delay his power. Full beans now, that V8 screaming down the back straight. Now spot your braking marker, don't be too greedy on the apex on the turn in. There is a sausage there and no one likes a sausage. Oh, he's gone a bit too deep, the back end's kicking out. Get the car balance then for the chicane. Don't run too much curb, that will unsettle the car. Now it's about picking your entry point. He's been generous on this one, he's not pushing the boundaries too much. I think he's just putting a safe lap on the board here, you know. Now pick your entry point.
One of the dangerous turns here.
Yeah, too deep. He was a bit too late there. I think the sun might have got in his eyes a little bit. Now you want to widen that as much as you can. Takes that quite nicely then does Friedman. Tucks the car in. Doesn't want to turn in too early here because it will drift you out left. Has to get out of the power actually because he did turn in too early. What's his early time going to be? It's going to be 37 something, I think. I'd say 39.1. Not good enough at the moment, but early days for these silver graded drivers.
Yeah, currently at 10th for Friedman as Wonderhard put himself in at 7th. So let's ride with Lewis Knight here and see what he can put down on the board. I also just noticed that the track map I'm using have the turn numbers reversed. I was so confused looking at when I looked at Friedman going into what was supposed to be turn 4, and I'm like,
yeah.
Wait, he didn't finish his lap, did
Hang
he?
on a minute, what's going on here? Yeah. So Lewis, with a very unconventional car choice, if I may say. The old school Nissan GTR, which is, I think he was testing this last season. It's an interesting one. One of the less popular cars on the game, and for a reason. But it is quick. It's just a lot.
The people who love this car, they just absolutely love it. It was the same car that Thomas Hagen drove in on the hot lap that we saw.
To be fair to it just takes a specific driving style, but once you get that car dancing, it does work nicely.
He's having a hard time stopping talking about how powerful it is on the straights. Once you get out on that straight and you get your speed going, you're just Japanese plastic rocket.
Godzilla goes ham. It's got quite a lot of mechanical grip and aero, so you can actually run quite minimal wing on those cars without it affecting you so much. You just have to be very delicate mid-apex because of that. So we'll typically tend to see what sort of setup he's running by how he handles the car and sets it up for high downforce corners. Whether you take an early or late apex, for example. But very tidy lap so far for Lewis so far.
Yeah, definitely. Also improving by quite a bit compared to his first lap here. While we were talking Ike Sky, or Ike Sky, I've been pronouncing his name wrong for so long. Ike Sky placed himself in second.
And Brewer. So we've actually got a McLaren now.
And Knight
in
they're up to
P1.
fifth.
So Brewer is determined to put an end to the front engine's dominance that is going on at the front of the pack right now. Quite a lot of lads improving here.
Both Brewer and Ike driving the new McLaren.
Yeah, the Evo 2. So the only real difference with the Evo 2, a little bit more aero. So you've got a noticeable sort of amount of front end grip available to you as opposed to the last one where your braking was very affected by how you could drive that thing. Ooh, as he gets it all a little bit wrong there, does Sky. But you've got a little bit more purchase on that front end now, which is something you didn't always have the luxury of in the old one.
I'm being riding just behind another car there again. What we're talking about with the gaps here, how that can make a difference during qualifying.
Bullion sticks a Ferrari in P3, and Friedman finally turns up to the party with a 37.5. Worth noting, Bullion and Friedman exactly the same time have just been set.
Oh, that's that's impressive. One of them's gonna have to try and improve then. Bullion is lucky to have the alphabetical advantage now.
Well, his Sector 2 was mighty, whereas Friedman's was all about Sector 1. So, again, does that tell you anything about how the cars are working, or is it really just down to how that Ferrari generates its downforce?
Interesting to see that no one has beaten Cook's lap time yet. Even these silver guys are so far 3/10 off.
Yeah, some of them are kind of struggling to get a lap together. Oaks goes P6 in the rustic Porsche.
We have to follow him for a bit. There we can finally see that beautiful, beautiful Porsche. I didn't have the livery loaded for the test stream. Look at it, it's glorious.
He's brilliant. I love that. Like the rat packing.
Oaks won the AM split last season and has now moved up to silver.
I'm just looking for drivers that are improving and at a portion of the track. So Friedman's slightly up. Quite a nice
Lawrence
drive
is
out.
improving by quite a bit as of now, with almost 8/10.
He's got that troublesome Sector 3 to go though. We'll keep an eye on him. So he's set to jump 4 or 5 spots at the minute there is Lorenz. If he gets it, he goes too deep. He's going to lose all that time.
Losing the time, but staying on track. And actually, he didn't lose a lot. He's still 6/10 up. So he managed that situation quite nicely for what it was, as long as he didn't step too far off track. I guess we'll get the answer now.
Yeah.
Jumping up to 4th. Irvin right now also improving by quite a bit, jumping up to 15th.
I think someone needs to tell Elsug that he shouldn't be on track though.
Yeah, he's still on track. He's improving by a second though.
He's improving quite a lot. The AM lads aren't going to be happy with him going out there.
No, I'm assuming he missed the driver briefing and might not be in the Discord chat. I always call Server 2 and Silver AM, I always call it the fun split, because most of the guys are actually sitting in a Discord voice chat during the race.
Yeah, we never had that.
Talk to each other.
Yeah.
Of course not like bantering as they race. They're trying to focus, but during practice and between the sessions while waiting, it's actually a really good time being in that chat.
Yeah, you never got that in Pro.
It's also, I mean, it's great for a situation like, for example, if you're being blue flagged as you're about to head in, you can just try and say in the Discord, hey man, I'm going in right now, so don't worry about pushing. You'll be free in a second. Van der Haar again jumping up to 9th here. But we still have Cook at the very top.
they'll be dancing in the streets where Cook's from. Is no one's really coming close to his times. You know, it's still 3/10 leading away.
He's still sitting on pole, and the next driver in the AM split for now is Patton down at 10th. Which does mean if Cook can keep that pole, and I don't think he's going to fall down too far, Patton, if he's even going to challenge Cook, he has 10 cars to fight through first.
Yeah.
Depending on who overtakes Cook and not.
I've got a quick point to make. It's daytime.
It is supposed to be a nighttime race, so I'm
supposed to be
assuming it's structured like an actual race weekend.
Yeah, it's
with the
weird though.
qualifying maybe being in the morning.
Ah, right, okay. You might have a point, but I'm sure it was meant to be dark, but never mind. We'll see what the race turns out like.
The race is supposed to be night, at least. I know that for sure. But they did have to restart the server, which again confused us a lot before the broadcast. So if the settings aren't correct, we might be getting a daytime race.
I was just on board with the 666 Porsche then as he got a little bit greedy and just overcooked it a little bit. He was up on his time as well, and the number of the beast went spinning into the gravel track. Fortunately no damage, so he should be able to carry on.
With 3 minutes left here, none of these cars are really set to improve by too much. Freeman is actually almost 2/10 up now, but he is slowly losing that, just as I said it.
Yeah, early days in his lap as well.
Getting a really good exit there and improving by 2/10 just from that exit alone. Yeah. So he might have something going.
He had a lot of his work to do in that first sector though, so the fact that he gained then lost it all tells me that this lap probably will average out, but we'll see. If he stays on this track, it won't change anything, but he's got to do a bit more work to leapfrog Knight ahead of him. We'll see.
Right now at a 0.3, but it's falling again as he moves his way into sector 3.
Again, I'm on board with him, and I just get the impression.
There.
Yeah, this is
and
just typical. It's typical that he's cooked his tyres, I think. So
Lewis here might be improving a little bit on his lap. He's about halfway.
One thing stream viewers may question me on is why I'm talking about tyres getting cooked when they're only doing like 3 or 4 laps, and you tend to run really aggressive setups for quali. So that's why I'm saying that, is because they tend to run a setup that is very aggressive on the tyres. You'll cook your tyres in 4 or 5 laps, but they're quicker.
I never got to the point where I understood setups myself, but I bought setups and I noticed instantly becoming a lot quicker when someone has set up the car in the proper way.
Yeah.
And of course that wasn't suited for my driving style, so I might have been even a little bit quicker doing it myself, but I noticed as soon as I got them I became quicker and I became actually more consistent. I felt more comfortable with the car.
Yeah, especially if you're getting them from the same sort of place as well, or you've got someone that builds your setups for you, because you tend to you need to be able to drive around a good setup, not a setup drive around you. It's quicker that way. Brewer's set to improve. He's on the second to last corner now. It gets a little bit unsteady though in the McLaren, so loses a little bit of momentum, but does gain it back on the exit. So Brewer, who was quite high up earlier on, might be able to leapfrog a couple of positions.
Kind of missing the exit a little bit there, losing some time actually. But jumping up to 5th.
The problem is Lorenz
is
about to
crossing the line there, putting himself in second.
And
still almost 3/10 off Dave Cook.
Yeah, and Bullion just comes up as well. So Brewer improved 2 spots and then got bounced back down 2 as well. So the cruel world. Might be worth looking at Christie, by the way, because he's been languishing down in P18. Car 294.
Christie.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot there was 2. He's nearly a second up on his time, so we could see him leapfrog into the top 10 here.
Look at that, crossing the line and
P10.
Exactly. Then what about the other Christie here?
He's up. Can he leapfrog? Is it his dad?
I am not sure, to be honest, but they are driving the same car, so maybe they're sharing setups.
Yeah, I think D Christie is Dad Christie and J is Junior Christie. What we'll see, he gets a really
That'll be
nice
easy
run
to
out.
remember if true.
Really nice run out of that last corner now. He is set to go into the 37s on this lap.
And
Oh, that's family
Junior
bragging rights.
moving down Dad Christie. Again, it would be amazing if that's actually right. It would be a very easy way to remember who's who.
He's not got to do the pots tonight, I'll tell you that. He's got family bragging rights. Who else is on a lap? We've only really got Bullion on a lap.
Yeah, Bullion is the only one left on track. He hasn't got the checkered flag, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this isn't.
Ilsag's still out there driving even after getting the checkered flag.
He's free testing for him, isn't it? That's all that is.
And getting some extra practice in. Let's see. Thomas sent me. Darren is Dad, Jack is Junior. That's perfect.
There
Makes
we
it
go.
easy to remember.
There we go.
Alright, so 5 minutes until the race begins. In the meantime, I'm thinking we could take a look at the livery video, because we do actually have an official ERA livery that I don't think I've seen out on track yet. So we'll have to keep advertising it and try and get you guys to run it. So I'll put that up on the stream right now.
Excellent.
So then for my stream right now, we are once again without audio.
Perfect. Can I just take this opportunity to run and get a drink then? Is that alright?
Yeah, no problem, man.
Give me just a mo. I'll be back. I'll be back before the race. I just need to get a drink. I forgot to get one before I sat down because I was rushing. Back in a mo.
Yep.
I'm back. I could have had a beer, but I chose a Coke instead.
Going with
I've matured.
a little more healthy option.
Oh, well, I've got a fridge full of Belgian beer that I bought back from Belgium when I went to Spa. I'm not tucked into any of it yet.
Oh. Let's see. And we are back with 3 minutes until the race as the guys are getting their setups ready. I always love seeing, like, when the cars jitter and you know that someone updated their setup. Dave Cook actually starting a pole here. Keeping that position for himself, which means, let's see, Patton now down in 12th is going to have a hard time catching back up.
So, let's have a look at
think,
how we set up. What was that, mate?
I think Patton is still in AM at least. I'll have to double check. Yeah, Patton down in 12th. And then we have Dave Cook at the very top with 11 cars. No, 10 cars, sorry. I'm bad at math.
I mean, that was
10 cars
just
between them.
that was just a worldie of a qualifying, really, by Cook. Whether he can hold on to that in the race, it's an hour long. It's a long time to go without making any mistakes, and that's going to be the defining moment for me. Is who can just keep the mistakes to a minimum. We are night time now. The visibility is a bit less. Picking your braking points is a bit harder. When you've got light shining in your mirrors, I've done lots of night racing, and you've really got to have your eyes on blinkers and looking for your apexes and your braking point. The more experienced guys in these conditions should shine.
Not to mention having to get your tires up to temperature when the track is a lot colder than during the previous session.
Yeah, we're still quite warm, so whether we'll see a decline, you might see the track drop a couple of degrees. So for note, we're at 23 degrees right now, which for a GT, it's fine, isn't it? A GT3 car, you're not really going to struggle with that. You don't have to run aggressive toe angles to keep the temperatures and the tyres. It's how much that temperature drops over the next hour. So yeah, final setup adjustments then. The mechanics are about to clear the grid. What we'll do, we'll have a green flag lap, which is where the cars just basically go around in single file. They'll do a bit of weaving, build a bit of temp, and then we'll have a rolling start. So a nice, fast, frenetic start here down to turn 1, which is a 90-degree right, and it is absolutely rife for someone just to get the braking point wrong. These guys should have practiced their braking points from a rolling start. If they haven't, they're going into unknown territory. So we're starting to hear the engines start now, and I will, when we do go green flag, I'll let you do the bulk of the talking, and I'll just chime in for little bits and bobs as we go if you want.
Just feel free to talk as much as you want, man.
You
obviously have more experience with it than I do.
Not sure
and
quite
the
how
first
far I
guy
go.
starting to move here on the formation lap.
So the glory of sim racing is we've got a thing called ghosting, which means that the cars can literally drive through each other right now and it won't do anything. But in real life, if you saw that, you'd be exceptionally worried. But Cook is going to take the cars round. They have sort of a designated pace. It's almost like a virtual safety car delta they have to hit on this formation lap. It's really so no driver gets an advantage in terms of being able to warm the tyres up. And then once they get round to the end...
It's always fun watching the guys at the very back when you're supposed to line back up, because if the grid has spread out too much, you have to raise your socks off to get to that position to not get teleported.
I've never done that before. I've never panicked as we're coming to the end of a lap.
I have once tried to make sure I stay behind the car in front of me, even though they're going slow. And then when you have to regain your position, you have to drive very fast if you are almost a quarter of a lap behind at that point.
Yeah, one thing I've just been looking for actually on my stream is whether they're what we call brake holding. So you might see the drivers look like they're stamping on the brakes, but not actually slowing down. So what you'll do is you'll low gear, full throttle, but you'll hold the brake at about 30%. That radiates temperature up into your tyres.
Dick Cook spinning there on the formation lap.
No, oh no.
Getting his car back on track, pointing in the right direction.
Fortunately,
now he's going to have to raise his socks off to get to his position.
That's unfortunate, Mr. Cook. But he should be okay. He should be okay to get back up there. Yeah, so you might see them hold the brakes. Don't be worried about that. Your screens aren't malfunctioning. It's a temperature building tactic these guys might employ. One thing to also take a bit of a note of, the Aston Martins, because of the terrible low down torque, they don't start very well. So the likes of Friedman, Van der Haar, Pattenden, they'll all have a job making sure they don't lose positions off the start, so they're going to be worth keeping an eye on. The rest of the cars don't really have that issue. It's really an Aston Martin thing. All the power in that car is high revs.
The guys lining up here, double file, as they're getting ready to start. Worth noting that Lawrence will have the... Oh, never mind. Yeah, they're switching over. I was going to say it was going to have the inside line, but that still goes to Cook.
No, it's because they get gridded up in too bad. There's a couple of drivers that might be out of position here, actually. There's one that's been teleported to the pit, which is 188. Who's
and
that?
Green flag. Yeah, you are teleported to the pits if you, Elshag here. Being, now I started saying the name in English, me too. Yeah, he was teleported to the pits. He might have been too far behind when the field was supposed to bunch back out, which will teleport you to the pits. Cook here getting away, well, creating a little bit of a gap for himself as Lawrence is getting into a fight here with Sky.
Yeah.
Sky taking that position from him. We do have a lot of positions switched at the moment. Goes past Hansen, Oaks go past, I think, Patnan. And Christie past Van der Haar, Junior Christie. Brewer past Bullion here.
We've got patterning off. We've got an incident a little bit further back. I'm just going to have a look back at it my screen here to see what happened.
See, yeah, we have quite a bit of contact reported between car 97 and 72, and then between those two again, and then between 13 and 86. That might have been a little bit of a chain collision, so we'll take a look at the replay here and some more contact, this time also with car 97. We'll take a look at the contact that happened at the 46th second mark in the race.
Yeah, so it was Pattenden that just got a little bit late on the brakes then and just tapped what looked like Jardine's anime covered car into a little bit of a spin, and because how tight the field is, that you know, that involved a few other cars as well.
I didn't catch it on the replay here, but I think I forgot to swap to the correct car because the software does not actually do that for you. Well, let's see, it's Backer in his Audi, that is number 13 at least.
Just flicked to Lorenz. He's getting his braking wrong quite a lot in that Porsche. Sky and Cook are braking away here, and Lorenz is starting to come under pressure from Friedman. He's starting to panic a little bit in the Porsche. He's really doesn't seem to be on it at the moment, Lorenz. I hope it's just a temporary issue with him, but at the moment he seems to be at odds and ends with that Porsche.
He did drive Bentley last season, so getting used to the Porsche is it's probably a very different experience.
Yeah, that might make a little bit of sense then, as Lucien gets past Van der Haar up into P9. And then we've got Lewis Knight in Godzilla right in the middle of a bit of a pack as well. There's all sorts of fights going on through this field.
Jardine passing Hanson here, and it does report some contact between them on the pass. So let's once again try and take a look at a replay, and I'll make sure to remember to swap to the car before I start the replay here. Still experimenting with the new replay bumper, trying to get that transition to work properly. Yeah, we'll take a look here at that pass. Oh, just a little bit of door touching there. I mean, it's a little tough racing, but nothing major. Car 316 also being involved in something here. That's Brewer, but not losing position. He was involved in that with, let's see, Lewis Knight got past him, but they were not in contact with each other. Dev Cook here now being chased down by Ike Sky, now at a 0.6 gap. Ike Sky coming from behind in his McLaren, while Dave Cook is driving his AMG, so it's going to be interesting to see if Dave Cook can keep that pace going. As of right now, he does have the fastest lap out on track with the 1:38.
Yeah, so the advantage Cook's got is he'll be faster in a straight line than the McLaren. What Sky's got to do here is set him up for a bad exit. That's his only real chance of getting past. Now, one thing to also consider, I was going to mention it in the formation lap, but I forgot because I got too excited. Part of the strategy is the drivers and teams will have all chose their opening fuel load. So you don't have to run a full tank of fuel that'll get you through the whole hour. If you really want to commit to a strategy, you can run just enough fuel to get you to the pit window and thus make your car a little bit faster in the opening phase. Some guys might have done that.
See, so Thomas Hagen, who's not racing himself, he is paying attention to the stream today. So I just got a complaint for the volume on the replay bumper, so I'll try and adjust that down a bit so it's not that loud next time we're playing it. He's paying well attention here. Or paying good attention? Well attention? He's doing well at paying attention.
I think you got it right first time and doubted yourself. Couple nice battles firing off there. Tetley's been putting increasing pressure on D'Agostino up ahead. Oh, as D'Agostino goes off.
Now at a 0. Oh, I'm passing him there as D'Agostino makes a little mistake.
Nice move there by Tetley. Nice move, Tetley. Now he's got a bit of a gap now to Oaks, which I think is the Porsche ahead of him.
Lewis Knight here is at a 0.3 gap to Lee Bullion, trying to make his way past the blue and orange Ferrari. The racing out on track is very tight now. It's almost difficult
really
to know where to look.
It really is.
Stancer is also involved in a battle with D'Agostino, who no doubt is trying to defend his position not to fall back any further.
We've got a bit of a Brewer train forming though, unfortunately, so Friedman is dropping Brewer like an absolute stone. There's 6 seconds
with a
now.
5.6 second gap, yeah.
And that I've been keeping half an eye on it, and it has been growing and growing. So Brewer's probably watching the battle of Bullion and Knight behind him. Oh, who was that? That was Liebchen.
Liebchen dropping 2 positions there.
Yeah, he got his braking
and also
wrong.
Lewis getting his way past Wang, now trying to get past Bullion still. Actually, now he has a little gap up to Bullion before he can try and make his way past. It's, yeah, sometimes you get kind of sucked up in all the numbers here, forgetting to look at the actual race.
You know what? I've got to give Lewis Knight some
making
credit.
a move here on the inside, making his way past Wang again.
Yeah, what I was going to say, I've got to give Lewis some genuine credit. So I've just gone back and watched the Liebchen sort of where he broke late, and Lewis must have seen it and just nicked left just in time to avoid what would have been quite a big accident. So really good observant driving there by Knight, keeps himself in the fight and prevents what would have been a hospital visit for both of them, no doubt.
Let's see, car number 6. Yeah, no reported contact, so that means we won't be able to go back and have a look at it.
No, there wasn't.
That means he did it without even without touching the car at all.
Just been keeping an eye on the
Tetley here now, 0.3 behind Oaks, trying to make his way past last season's AM winner. Braking, seemed like he had to brake a little extra there to avoid contact. Might have been scared a bit by Oaks possibly braking earlier than expected. Making their way towards the last few corners of the track until they have the long, long straight ahead. The gap now at a 1.5 before the straight. Tetley might be able in the Lamborghini to catch up a little bit, but I don't think he's going to be able to make a move.
Oh,
Backer
Christie,
here,
yeah.
having just passed Christie. Christie going off track, and a yellow flag for Wang.
I'm trying to figure out who was the cause of that. I don't know who got on the brakes late.
Let's see, we have possible contact between Wang and Becker, so let's take a look at that on the replay. Looking at it here. Oh, and yeah, so we car number 13, Becker, being caught up here with Wang braking too late, shooting straight, hitting another car, hitting car number 294.
Yeah, I've got a report
Christie,
on that.
and sending Christie into Becker, but Becker was able to make his way past. And I just got a text from Thomas saying that the sound on the bumper now is good. Thank you, Thomas, for
T1,
helping me adjust the stream.
Oh, as Oaks goes off at T1, Christie got his braking a little bit late and hit the road racing.
Giving Tetley the chance to pass here, actually. Oaks now has to try and catch back up to Tetley to make his way past.
And the pit window is now open. So will we see anyone dive into the pit lane? So any cars that have got early damage, which I didn't see many, we might have potentially Jardine, a couple of others that have been involved in early accidents. They might dive for the pit lane early, get that damage fixed and get some clear air.
We have had quite a bit of contact. Like, some of the reported contact is just cars trading paint when passing. I don't remember seeing any big incidents at this race either. It's always good to see these guys being able to race cleanly because, of course, with it being the two lower splits, you are going to have less experienced drivers, and sometimes that leads to big accidents. But here, it seems like they have avoided it. I always love seeing these guys race cleanly.
So
Bullion there going, kind of losing his rear a bit as he made his way, as he tried to catch up to Brewer. He was looking like he could potentially gain some time there until the rear slipped out a bit.
So there was a yellow flag out for Follows. I'm just on board with him now just to see if I can figure out what happened as Wang is in the pits in the Rover Racing BMW. He might have a little bit of damage to fix. Follows, the back end of that Porsche just forgot it was existing, and oh, there was another car that hit him.
We have contact recorded between 86 and 1, so once again we can go to replay and take a look at that.
Yeah. D'Agostino just came across a spinning Follows, and unfortunately,
here.
Yeah, was
Follows spinning there, and yeah, contact with the other car as Nathan came back on track, like he was about to say.
Not much he could have done. Either
so
driver.
Nathan spinning again there, now into the wall.
I think he's got damage.
The rear once again.
He'll have damage from earlier. The back end of that Porsche just does not sit right at all, and I can actually see damage.
Spinning around on the grass here, trying to make his way back onto the track. Now being clear to return. I'm pretty sure Nathan drove the McLaren previously, like 80% sure, so he might also be getting used to that Porsche, which I tried driving the older one. It just tried to murder me and I never touched it again. So it's definitely a beast to learn how to wrangle.
So we've got a stop-go 30 for Wang then in the Rover Racing BMW, and without looking, because I don't know how to on this software, my guess is he sped in the pit lane.
That might be very possible. I don't think we should be getting track limits this early.
Yeah, I think he's... No, a track limits is a drive-through. You only really ever get a stop-go 30 for speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah, that has to be the only thing.
And he's back in the pits.
Here, trying to catch up to Ike Sky, and Ike Sky here, alongside Dave Cook down the straight here. Oh, and Dave Cook swerving a little bit, scaring Ike a bit, but not pushing him, but scaring him. Keeping to that inside line and being able to stay ahead, but now it is close. Ike Sky trying to go for the outside in the next corner, not quite being able to make the move. And right behind them is Lawrence. This is a very tight three-way battle for the lead right now.
You know what? That's really good driving by Cook. Really good car placement. Didn't block the corner off, just gave Sky something to think about on his entry, and that was enough to put him off. We've seen drivers pull that round the outside move off already a couple of times. Cook was aware of that, just pushed on the throttle a little bit early and got in his way. Really good driving there by the Mercedes driver. Let's hope he can keep it up. This is great racing.
Pulling only one, but still pulling a 10th during that straight. It's a great defensive driving, blocking exactly the right portions of the track.
And now we get to see the Mercedes pull in a straight line. You can visibly see the gap. And then the McLaren, which is just a bit better mid-corner, gathers it all back in again. The Mercedes really needs a good exit out of the final corner, which he's not got. The McLaren is right on his chuff here, and he's fully in the draft. This is going to be Sky, one of Sky's best opportunities to get a move made down the inside. You've got to be brave. You've got to be brave on the brakes then coming down into T1. If you get this wrong, you're toast. Let's have a look. Can he do it, Sky? Does he pop a nose out? I don't think he's close enough. No, decides to stay put for the time being.
We've been following these guys for an entire lap now, and it's still exciting. The gap is growing a little bit. Lawrence is right there, so Sky can't really be reckless here either. A mistake from him is also going to cost him position, so he has to think in both directions. Oh, kind of tucking his nose in there, but not really going for it as Cook closed it off. Oh, and losing the rear end there looked like a little bit for Sky. Lawrence didn't move a lot closer here. Actually, Sky is very close on Cook now. It might have just been my perspective. Oh, and contact between the two cars. Contact again. Oh, no. And a spin for Sky as he also hits Lawrence. Lawrence being able to keep going. Now he's the one chasing Cook, but he did get himself quite the gap there. Further back, Lewis Knight is still trying to get past Bullion. He was very close here, but now a little further back again.
Oh, I'm just trying to catch up with that myself because I was watching something else. Oh, that was really unfortunate for Lorenzo, wasn't it? He almost just got caught unawares by Sky having that contact. Hard to say with these angles. Obviously, the stewards will have full telemetry available to them if they need to have a look at that. Hard to say from these angles who has any fault with them. But Sky in the pits now already, getting some damage fixed maybe and getting his pit stop out of the way.
It's definitely unfortunate, but it looked like it's just the sort of thing that happens sometime, and of course the stewards are no doubt possibly trying to find blame in that situation. As far as normal racing goes, those things tend to happen sometimes, and it's very unfortunate.
Of course.
D'Agostino here is trying to catch up to Hogue, trying to gain some positions.
The Knight, Leach and Christie battle is still carrying on. With Knight struggling to find a way past the Porsche.
And Liebchen now actually making his way past Knight, because Knight was fighting Bullion. Oh, and the Porsche there in the wall. Bouncing back on track, kind of blocking Lewis a bit. But Lewis should be able to carry enough speed here to get around. Actually, no. The Porsche bouncing off the wall. Lewis having to avoid an incident.
I think knowing Lewis, he felt to blame for that, so he's actually backed out of the move. From first glance, I don't think he was at fault for that incident, but we'll see.
Oh, let's see. Yeah, so there was actually contact between the two, so let's have a look at that on the stream with a replay. Let's see here. Oh, right, yeah, Lewis touching the back, kind of sending him into the wall.
Yeah, but the Porsche was already losing control.
Yeah, it was already losing it, so I don't think I blame Lewis either. Lawrence here now, no longer behind Sky, setting fastest lap here with a 1:37.3. Still at a 1.5 gap to Cook, though. We can take a look at the head-to-head graph and compare their lap times, where Lawrence actually lost quite some time on the last lap to David Cook.
Oaks v Christie has just culminated in a bit of contact with the McLaren going off track, but Oaks, who I think might have just been to blame for that one, only just has slowed and let the McLaren resume ahead. So again, you know, incidents will happen, but the sportsmanship we're seeing is actually brilliant here. That these two drivers can have a bit of contact.
It's the guys staying friendly out on the track. So we can take a look at that as well. Let's see, Oaks here going for a move. Yeah, braking, going a little bit aggressively into that corner. One can say that he might have been left a little more space, but I wouldn't necessarily say he was entitled to have so.
I'll agree with that. So now we're cycling through these pit stops. We're going to start seeing a little bit of a unique issue, especially for the front pack who have decided to delay their stops. They're going to be coming across potential lapped cars soon, I should imagine, depending on how often they decide
Backer here making a move on Christie Jr. Side by side here on the main straight. And Becker was passed here for a little bit, but had to brake a little more as he had the outside line there.
That was just really good driving by Christie. His braking was pinpoint perfect there.
Stanser also closing in on Tetley here. So as of right now, Stancer and Tetley are some of the drivers who gained the most positions here. Tetley being the one who's gained 10 positions, who is he has the most overtakes of this race. Stancer with a 7. Now, oh, and a spin for Tetley there, as Stancer makes his way past. Bumping Stancer. Oh, Tetley now tumbling down, as he's still under yellows, trying to get control of his car.
That was self-inflicted, unfortunately, as well. Did the right thing, though,
It's so easy
Tetley.
to get stressed in those situations.
Yeah, did the right thing. Just held his brakes and waited for a gap and got out of the way, really.
Backer once again trying to make a move on Christie. They have a few corners left off the lap. Let's see if Backer can get the exit that he needs on this lap to get past.
Well, he gets a gimme there because
getting past right there.
yeah, in he comes to the pits then, Christie, for his one regulation pit stop. So for those who may be watching this for the first time, or of course it's oh, there's a yellow. Do we want to have a look at that? Car 1 follows.
Car 1 yellow, also for D'Agostino, but he's further up the field.
I'll have a look at D'Agostino.
Let's see here. Car 1, no reported contact for car 1, but something between 808 and 72. Yeah, none of the cars under yellow were actually involved in contact right now.
Well, we've seen Follows has really struggled with that Porsche all race. He's fighting the back of that car. Anyway, what I was saying is we see Tetley under a yellow flag again, actually, so I'm maybe not saying it. Not sure what's happened to Tetley.
Tetley once again under yellow in the wall here this time. Car 808. Yeah, so we do have contact with car 808 at... Oh, but that is quite some time ago, but let's still take a look at it.
Oh, he lost the rear end coming around the final corner, which is a very peculiar thing to do.
So we have possible contact between 808 and 72, where, yeah, Tetley went wide and definitely not touching any of the other cars, just going wide onto the grass there and spinning his car.
No. So, all drivers, every single one of them, they've got a pit at some point. They have a pit window, which is the middle, is it 40 minutes of the race? So after the first 10 minutes and before the final 10 minutes, if I am not mistaken. During the pit stop,
like that.
I think they have to refuel at least 1 litre, but they don't have to take tyres, am I right?
There's no fixed refueling, but refueling is mandatory.
Excellent. Right, so yeah, so they'll have to put like a minimum.
I think 1 liter is the minimum you can take, yeah.
Yeah. So again, this is where strategy opens up. So by not taking tyres, the time saved is about 5-6 seconds.
Oaks and Jardine pitting now at the 23-minute mark.
So that bang on. Now this is bang on halfway is probably about right. To be fair, if you're gonna do it, you do it about halfway, and you tend to find the guys that are taking tyres will pit halfway through as well. So we might expect these guys to do it. So if you take the tyres, in theory your lap times might be a little bit quicker. You can lean on that tyre a lot more during both stints, but you're gonna be in the pits that little bit longer. So do you give up that track position for a little bit of nicer rubber on your feet? And again, it's a personal preference, really. You know, if you're someone who does drive quite hard, that 5 seconds in the pits is usually made back up in the race.
When I was driving, I usually try to take tires at around the halfway mark. If I still felt good, I would stay out for longer. But as soon as I felt lap time dropping off, I would take tires, and that had to do with me. I needed the tires to be as consistent as possible for me to be able to stay consistent.
Yeah.
Because as we know, consistency is key during a race. You can't set one fast lap and win the race with that. You have to stay on track and keep performing.
Yeah, exactly.
Wang here now trying to make his way back up the field after his early contact in the race. Right now trying to make his way past Elshag.
Yeah, he's pitted quite early as well.
Quite well there.
Yeah.
Positioning his car quite well ahead of Wang to make sure he can really... He didn't give Wang too much choice of a line going into that corner.
Another thing to bear in mind, these cars that got damaged will have taken extra time to fix that damage in the pits. Or if they didn't fix it, they'll have... oh, as he goes for a move. Oh, nice.
Going on the inside there, but Elsa closing it off, and Wang having to go a little bit too tightly on the inside there.
Yeah, he had to shave off too much speed, didn't he, really? And then Elsag's got the drive now onto the back straight. So yeah, if you don't fix your damage, you're going to be carrying that damage through the race, and it might be costing you in lap time. So sometimes it's worth fixing it, sometimes it's not.
And we are seeing some blue flags waved in the background here, which means we are getting our first blues here. Dave Cook is the only driver. Actually, now Lawrence also started lap 16. Then we have a bunch of drivers on 15 and the rest on lap 14.
So sometimes you're lucky and you pass these cars in the pit. And yeah, the BMW does well to get out of the way of Cook there, who will be sweating buckets in that seat now. He is lapping quicker than Lorenz. It is suffice to say his last lap was 6/10 quicker than the Porsche. So he is really good pace by the Mercedes there. I'm really impressed with it so far. The fastest car on track.
Let's take a look here at the lap time graphs, where we can see that, yeah, so the first lap is obviously throwing the results off a bit, but looks like Dave Cook has been driving very consistently here, staying within, it looks like a second or two. Once we get a few more laps in, that first one is going to be deleted, giving us some easier to read results. But looking at Lawrence, he has more variation in his lap time, meaning that Cook in first position is able to stay more consistent throughout his race.
I might have a bit of an answer for
yellow
that.
For Tetley there.
Oh, for Tetley. I didn't see that flash up on my screen, I do apologise. I was looking at the speed trap statistics and noticing that Cook is actually one of the slowest cars through the speed trap. What does that tell you? Well, that tells me that he's quite high on aero. So he's fully expecting attacks in the corners and he's set himself up for that. Now we see Jardine.
Richard's here. Oh, on the way into the pit. I was about to comment on him missing positions, but yeah.
Jardine, yeah, just looked to have run a little bit deep. Got the Lexus in a bit of a spin and lost a couple of positions there, but managed to recover it without too much.
They're also going into the pits, and at the same time, Becker is getting ready to attack Bullion here. Brewer has gone into the pits. We are 1.5 minutes away from the halfway mark here in this race. Right now, the software is calculating that they will drive about 36.5 laps before the end of the race.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you have the data available that shows you who has and hasn't pitted? Because I don't have that.
I do have on my overlay, I can see the current split, or current stint, how far they've gone on their tires.
Got you.
So everyone in the top 8 has gone 17 laps on their current tire. Brewer has gone 16, but he is in the pit right now. Behind there again, Cole D'Agostino has not taken tires. Tetley has not taken tires, and Edishag has not taken tires. Everyone else has been in at some point to change their shoes.
Because I'm just thinking that now's about the time you start looking at drivers who haven't pitted and where they might filter back out once they have made the stop. I think Cook and Lorenz haven't pitted yet, have they? So I think certainly that... Oh, actually, Lorenz is in the pits now.
No one in the top 8 has pitted yet. The only person in the top 10 who has pitted is Ike Sky.
Got you. Okay.
And now, actually, Daddy Christie just passed Brewer. Junior Christie is right behind him, or a gap of 5, but on the position behind. Backer there, just passing Bullion on the straight.
And we do have Lorenz in
Louis
the pits
Knight
from P2.
Also, oh, right, we have Lorenz in the pits. So Bullion is actually in a position to fight Becker now. This is the only current fight going on the grid. Everyone else has spaced out a bit by now.
Well, I'm looking at Cook and his distance to some lap cars ahead. If I was him, I would rather pit and not fight 3 cars. So he's coming up to 3 lap cars at the moment that can seriously impact your lap time. He's in the 138s at the moment, which is a decent lap time to be doing on used tyres. But if I was him, I'd be getting out of that traffic. I wouldn't be fighting those cars. But it depends where he's going to come out of the pits. It's going to be worth me keeping an eye on the lap times of Friedman, Lorenz and Sky to see what sort of pace they do on new boots, if they have indeed changed.
I'll have to send another message on the Race Labs Discord. Race Labs, of course, being the people making the overlays, and try to get them to create a pit prediction calculator.
I mean, yeah, again, with the pit lane being so long here, it really does throw it out, because you'll look at the track map and you'll think, oh, he's got tons of time, but it's not always the way. So Sky has actually leapfrogged Lorenz in the pit, so that's the first one I can tell you about. Ike Sky, who pitted earlier on, has been doing high 37s, whereas Lorenz was stuck
Friedman just went into the pits from, I think,
he?
4th position.
No, he was in second.
He was in second?
He was in second place, yeah, Friedman. So, yeah, so he'll filter back out somewhere in the mid-pack, but once those drivers do pit, yeah, we'll see where this all lands. It's really confusing right now because drivers are all out of position because of this pit stop. In about 15 minutes.
So just went in for his pit stop.
God. So they're starting to really cycle through now.
The top 7 are still missing their pit stops. Everyone below that has pitted now.
Okay. So that really does put Sky in a power position then, you know.
It definitely does. Hanson also now going in for his pit stop. So Sky might have really nailed his stop here. He has lost a few positions since the race began, but of course he has pitted, while every driver ahead of him is still to pit.
Well, we'll have to see where he comes out. At the moment, it's really hard to read because the gaps are huge as well. So Sky's got 31 seconds now to P5. So it is a big gap he's got, but it just depends on whether the guys ahead take tyres. If he took tyres earlier on, he's going to be quite fresh still. His lap times are pretty respectable as well. He's going faster.
He's done 9 laps on his current tyres.
Right, okay. So yeah, he changed tyres then at the pits, didn't he? Okay.
Or actually, it just says current stint, so I'm not sure if he did take tyres or not. But current stint is 9 laps.
Got you. So yeah, that won't tell us if he's taking tyres then. Okay, fair enough. No problem. We'll wing that one then, bud.
Lawrence having come out of the pits here, now 30 seconds behind Sky.
Yeah, so that's the first one that Sky really leapfrogged in the pits.
Stancer and Knight now both in the pit. So it does look like Sky is gonna pass at least one of them.
He'll get them both.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah, I'll get them both. So he qualified P3, don't forget, Sky. So I'm fully expecting him to at least get back to where he started. It's all about whether he can get anywhere close to the top 2 for me at this stage.
See, and for the last 14 minutes, there is also no report contact. So that is good. We'd like to see that.
Cook's pace, by the way, as he is 21 laps now on those tyres, is still in the low 38s, which is really good race pace. That's faster than anyone else is doing at the moment for race pace. So at the minute, he is good. He's still got that bunch of traffic ahead to navigate though, which I think's got Tetley and all that lot in it. Wang, Tetley, Kolb, that group of cars he's got to get through yet.
See, Van der Haar here tried fighting Brewer down the main straight. And Lewis coming out of the pits there, putting himself in between the 2 fighting cars. Van der Haar has to now pass Lewis Knight before he can keep chasing Brewer. Oh, and Lewis letting up there, letting him pass. I didn't quite see what happened. It looked like Lewis decided to let him pass.
Lewis is too nice for his own good sometimes, you know. Oh, yeah, he got... Godzilla got a bit of a tail end on, that's all it was, I think.
Ah, got it. But after that, Van der Haar is now 1.6 seconds behind Brewer, so it did lose him quite a bit of time there. Wang here now. Oh, onto the grass, having gone deep. He was about to try and fight Tetley for position. But lost quite some time after ending on the grass, coming out of, I think it was turn, yeah, because it says turn 4 in my track map, which makes it
bit
14.
backwards. You didn't want to have to be doing mental maths as well as calculate on a race as well, but there we are.
Stancer here on the inside as they make their way through turn 12, I think it is. And going on the inside there, gaining position, but Brewer does hit back, trying to keep that position for himself. Stancer going a bit wide and Brewer coming out ahead as they make their way down towards the main straight.
Brewer's just had a bit of an off-track excursion, by the way, so he's dropped a couple of places because of that. So that might be why we're seeing all that position swapping down that end of the field. Bullion in the pits.
Yeah, Bullion now into the pits, which means Becker and Cook are the only top drivers to not have pitted yet. Just got another text from Thomas where he says the only thing the GTR knows how to do is to go fast down the straight. Every other situation, it's confused, and it's gonna try and kill you.
I'll agree with that. Like I say, it's such a sweet car when you get it right, but getting it right is so difficult.
Oh, and Stancer here, having looked like he just made his way past. Oh wait, no, they might be lapping some traffic, possibly.
Well, I'm on board with Cook, so I noticed his last lap time dipped to a 38.4. He's just about to
take another look at the lap run graph and see if that outlap has been. Yeah, so now we can see it actually the way it's supposed to look.
For me,
see that quite a few laps ago he was up to an almost 140, but he's hovered around the 137, but below 138.5. But on his last two laps. Actually, the last 3 laps, he started to drop off in pace, according to the graph here.
So he's coming up to the back at the minute of Wang in the Rover BMW, and he's getting that much aero wash off the back of that big gnarly BMW there that he's really struggling to turn the car. It's costing him time. If I'm Cook's race engineer, I'm screaming at him to get in the pits and get out of this traffic. It is genuinely starting to cost him time now that I'm watching the gap shrink. So he's really got to think about either getting past this traffic fast, and they are getting blue flags, so they should be aware he's there, but they're not obliged to dive out of the way. It's not F1, they don't have to get out of the way here. They can run their race, he's got to find a way past, so that plays into the strategy when you pit.
Christie Jr. and Christie Dad here are now racing each other, with Christie Jr. being 0.2 ahead, going alongside here into the turn, with Junior having the inside. Still racing side by side, and he is past his father here, moving himself into 5th position.
So that gives Friedman something to bite at then now. So Friedman, who started the race in P6, is P7 now. Got a couple of cars ahead of him. He thinks he might be able to chop the nose off. But he did have quite a long pit stop. I'm just looking at the pit stop times as we see the leader in the pits now.
Yeah, Cook going in. He might have, maybe he's looking at the stream and listening to your advice.
So, to give you reference, and I'll update you when I know the actual figures, but Lorenz's pit stop was 1 minute 33 seconds. Sky's 1 minute 4. Sky gained nearly 30
Friedman
seconds
here moving
in the pits.
up side by side with D. Christie. For Christie having the inside here, taking the lead after the straight. Lead out of the 2 cars.
I don't know if Josh was telepathic there, but I was screaming, I was in my head going, you've got to make this work on the exit, not the entry of a corner, and that's exactly what he's doing. The drive out of that Aston on some of these corners is magnificent, and he's got to use that to his advantage. The McLaren's a bit squirmy getting the power down, the Aston's quite planted. It
does look like he might have a chance once we move our way to turn again with the math, Turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn 9 and 10 and 11. It looks like he might have a chance to try and make his way past as long as he can. Yeah, they're moving their way through now as long as he can maintain his speed here when they get out onto this long right-hander.
I've got bad news for Cook fans. It's a slow stop there by the Mercedes crew. His pit time, 1 minute 35. Sky's was 31 seconds faster and has now got the lead of the
there
race.
Between Friedman and Christie. Yeah, so Cook here coming out behind Ike Sky. Backer having not pitted yet, which means Sky is practically in the lead of this race.
Net lead. Yeah, he's net lead. Sky can't have taken tyres, by the way, because his time stopped in his box was only 11 seconds. So now I don't know what the gap is between Cook and Sky, but Cook's got fresh tyres, Sky hasn't.
16.7.
Right, he's got to do that on the road then, which means with the laps remaining, I haven't got that info on screen, but I'm assuming he's got to go about 1.5 seconds faster a lap than Sky does.
If we look at their fastest laps, which is the info most readily. Oh, and there we have, I think that was the audio follows parked on track again. Yeah, like I was saying, if we're looking at the fastest times, which is what I have the most readily available, Cook's fastest lap is 137.342, while Ike Sky is at a 137.440, which means there's not a lot of difference in maximum pace we've seen from these guys.
And a key note, we know Sky's on, 43-minute old tyres now. He just did a 37.7.
That is quite impressive. So let's see what Cook's first lap time after his out lap is going to be. Not a valid one apparently, because he's still at a 2:04 as his last lap.
The issue Cook's got now as well is he's come out, because his stop was slower, he's come out back in traffic. If you look at where Sky is, Sky's in clear air. He might not get to another car before the end of the race because of how much space that McLaren finds himself in. If you're a Sky fan, right now you are in absolute dreamland. He has got everything ready as back of pits. Everything prepped for him
here
to take
trying
the
to
lead
take
of
the
this race.
inside in turn 1. Having to slow down just a little bit too much to be able to get ahead. But that did cost Van der Haar some time, who is still trying to make his way now past Lewis so that he can fight Christie. But just behind them is also Liebchen. So we do have a 4-way battle here for position 8.
That's a great battle kicking off. I'm glad you spotted that, because this is all over the place then. Is that Van der Haar?
Liebchen there making his way past Van der Haar.
What a great move there by the 666 Porsche. So Cook now on the start-finish straight. Backer is now driving out of his pit box. Cook should get P2.
Cook now with 137.395 on his last lap. So he is actually a second faster than Ike Sky on that last lap there. We do supposedly have 10 laps left according to the calculation. So with 1 second per lap, that's not gonna cut it. He's still gonna finish 5 seconds behind.
But don't forget, Sky's tyres are just going to get worse and worse.
That is very true.
He's in prime position, don't get me wrong. He can manage his race now. He knows his gap. So he doesn't have to overdrive his car. Cook is the one that's got the work to do now. He's got to rag the absolute nuts off that Mercedes to get anywhere near him.
Liebchen here trying to find a way past Knight, but like we just discussed, that GTR knows how to go fast in a straight line. Lewis once again holding the inside here. That does allow Liebchen to get on the outside and get the next inside. Oh, and little love tap there, but they're both fine.
Yeah, bit of contact. And again, I love you, Lewis, but you're too nice. You left a massive gap there, which you didn't need to leave. The thing is, if you're Van der Haar and you've just seen that happen as well, you're salivating at the prospect of being able to get yourself into the top 10 as well.
Yeah, you want to try and do the same thing on the next lap.
100%.
So Oaks now actually having entered the battle for position number 8. We now have a 5-way battle.
It
with
might be a 6-way
Christie
soon.
leading the pack here.
You've got Backer just a second off them. He's not showing up on your graphic yet, but if Backer can reel himself back into that, we could have a 5-way battle here for a top 10 spot.
Let's see, Backer, he shows as being.
Oh,
first
sorry,
position
Brewer.
in my,
Brewer. Brewer. I said the wrong name. It's my first time, you know.
And Brewer now also catching up to the pack.
There we
Christie
go.
definitely creating a train here. If Liebschen can get past Christie, he should have a good opportunity to run away here. And Christie driving defensively, kind of taking the middle of the track there. Van der Haar not being able to replicate the move we saw from Liebschen.
Just a bit of a nod to Junior Christie here. He started P10. It's P5 now. Genuine, doing some really good times as well. He's having a great race. The gap between Cook and Sky still coming down. So you were right. It's about a second difference at this pace. Cook isn't going to do it, but there's going to be a time in the next couple of laps where Cook can see the tail lights of Sky's car, and that's going to give him added incentive to close up to him.
That's very true as well. I mean, if he can pull half a second extra on Sky here, he's going to be very close when we get to those last few laps.
Yeah, well, Cook's just set the fastest lap of the race at 37.1, but Sky still respectable given the age of his tyres of 38.2. You've still got to respect that pace from Sky, given the age of his tyres.
He definitely seems in control of that car. Oh, and I think that was... Let's see... Oaks. No, that was not Oaks. There was a car parked there. I didn't see who it was.
Well, Oaks and Brewer's little fight has been... they're side by side now, and what has been the third corner in a row. Brewer's got the inside line for T1. Will he be able to outbrake that McLaren? The Porsche is very good on the brakes. Might be able to sweep in front of him here. Yep, can do.
Yeah, and Brewer there pulling out before they even get to the corner, not wanting to push it too hard.
Yeah, he's, the Porsche is really good on the brakes. It's quite hard to outbrake a Porsche.
Christie in 8th is actually now running away a little bit from Liebschen here. Now increasing that gap to 1 second. Lewis Knight once again on Liebschen's tail here, wanting to get that position back, no doubt.
I was gonna say Liebschen's probably dropping him a little bit, or Christie's probably dropping him a little bit because he's got his hands full with some Japanese fury behind him that makes up a massive Nissan GTR. Lewis just outbrakes himself a little bit, but tidies it up quite nicely. Liebschen at the moment is in prime position, but he's got to make sure he gets his sector 3 perfect so that GTR doesn't just roll up on the straight.
Tetley here, as they move their way towards turn 1, as close to Wang here. Is he going to attempt to move, or is he going to stay behind? As they start braking, he's still behind Wang, choosing not to show himself.
So the gap for the lead now below 10 seconds. It is worth noting that Cook has just gone into the 36s for the first time this race, 36.8. Sky into the 39s for the first time this race.
Oh, gaining 3 seconds on that lap.
Yeah, huge. So
Or
this
almost 3 seconds.
This could close up. I'll keep an eye on that.
We could be set for a banger of a finish here. Quick window now closed, as I just got in my ear from a little bird called the ACC race guy. I can't remember what it's called.
We'll call him the race director. But yeah, all cars have pitted now. So as you see them on track are as they are. Yellow flags out. I can't see what car for. It's cleared now.
Follows went back into the pits here.
Oh, he's had a terrible race. He's had an absolute terrible race. Follows. This will be an opener to forget. So yeah, as you see, it is as it is. In terms of the gaps, the main fight that you've been talking about there, the fight for P9, that's the really spicy one. I'll keep an eye on the podium pack and just keep an eye on how that gap is closing down. I think that slow lap for Sky, by the way, just a slight mistake because he's recovered. He's done a 38.2 the next lap, so we might be getting excited for nothing.
But still, a 137 from Cook, so gaining 1.2 on that lap as well.
Yeah.
Oh, and I think it was Van der Haar going wide there. Yeah, losing positions to both Brewer and Oaks. Oaks now having to close a 2.5 second gap if he's going to bring the fight to Lewis. Lewis on the straight here, 0.2 behind Liebschen. That Porsche isn't the fastest car in the straight, so Lewis might be able to make a move here, but he does back out.
Liebschen late on the brakes, though. Has he gone too deep?
Oh, Lewis is passed.
That was a mistake by
Lewis
Liebschen. He was too late on those brakes there, and yeah, like you said, Lewis was just able to drive right around him.
Lewis once again now having to try and catch up to Christie. I mean, this is for a car like the GTR with that straight line speed. This is a good track to drive on with that car. You are in America, lots of straights.
They do love a straight here in America then. So the lead gap down to 7.5 seconds. 36.9 for Cook last time, 38.3 for Sky. I don't think we've got the time.
Oh, yellow flag for Liebschen here.
Well, there's two cars off.
See what happened. He's onto the grass. Same goes for Christie.
I'm just going to have a replay.
Christie now back on track, but Oaks and Knight passed Christie. And Brewer got to pass Liebschen. We have contact reported between Liebschen's car and number 47, which is Oaks. So let's take a look at that on the replay.
So both cars made separate mistakes. Liebschen was late on the brakes and drove himself off the circuit to avoid hitting Knight. So sacrificed himself, and I'll give him huge credit for that. Chose to off himself rather than take out another car. So Liebschen, you are a sporting great. As he's fighting away with Christie again. So yeah, it's hard to make that sacrifice for yourself, but he did it rather than take someone else out. So credit to him for that.
We also have contact reported between, I think it was 294 and 316. So Brewer and yeah, that was probably related to the whole off track coming back on track thing.
So we've got just over 5 minutes left. The lead gap is still 7 seconds. So if I'm being honest, I don't see Cook getting back at Sky. If I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, it's gonna have to pull a second a minute, which is definitely a difficult task.
Yeah, he's not gonna do it.
Liebschen now still trying to make his way past Christie as they are down to 11 and 12, while Brewer climbed to 10, Oaks to 9, and Lewis Knight now up in 8th. Van der Haar also pushing Liebschen hard here, being at a 0.1 gap as they make their way towards corner. Again, it's 16, 15, 14.
You're looking at your backwards track map, aren't you? So, yeah, a few little battles kicking off still to go with. We're just 5 minutes to go, sorry. So there's still some places to settle here. We are far from done.
It's always interesting watching the beginning of the race. The guys are quite aggressive, and then for the middle portion, they're driving around a little more cautiously. And then towards the end of the race, the aggression just picks back up.
Wang there has wanged his way past the Lamborghini of Tetley now up into P19.
Wang taking a very tight line in that corner. Normally you want to go all the way out there and use as much of the tarmac as possible, but taking a tight line there and making his way past Tetley.
Maybe he just didn't want to get his Wang out too far. You get in trouble for doing that sometimes.
Bullion now picking a fight with Christie Jr., trying to take that 5th position from him. Looked like Christie might have touched the grass a little bit, gone a little too deep on that corner. With Bullion staying at a stable 0.3 gap. Making their way through the long right-hander towards this braking zone where we have seen quite a few cars going too deep. Both cars making it through, but Bullion losing almost a second in that corner.
I think that's the aero wash kicking in again. He was that close that the aero performance of the car just disappeared and he had to scrub off a lot of speed.
The battle between Oaks and Brewer is also still going on here.
Christie's off again.
Chris is off yet another time. Let's take a look if there is. There's no reported contact between.
No, there isn't. He outbroke himself. That's all it was.
Brewer and Oaks alongside here. Brewer on the inside. Can Oaks maneuver that Porsche onto the next corner? Yes, he can. Getting the inside there and making his way. I was about to say past, but denying the overtake for Brewer.
Some good driving here still. These guys, they'll be tired. It's hot as well, so you know they've raced now for 55 minutes plus quali plus practice. This is where fatigue kicks in, mistakes start happening, your focus is going. Really easy at this point in the race just to drop a wheel about a foot further across than you really want to, and suddenly all your traction's gone. So the fact that we're seeing this level of racing at this stage in the race is testament to these guys.
Van der Haar here now 0.1 behind Liebsen, not making a move into this corner here, but staying on his tail, taking a little bit of an alternative line into the next corner. They seem to be spaced pretty evenly apart anyway. Oh, and having to brake early there not to hit Liebsen, who was on a wider line into the corner.
So just keeping you posted on the lead then. The gap's down to 3.5 seconds. I've just rode on board with Cook. He can visibly see the car ahead of him, but I still don't think that Sky has to make a mistake in order for
According
Cook to
to
get
the
that place.
calculator, they have one more lap to go.
Yeah, they might well be coming on to the last lap now.
That can't be right. That has to be wrong, because with 2 minutes to go.
At most, we've got
actually,
2.
It might not be that far off,
Yeah.
considering where they are in the lap.
Sky's made a mistake. Sky's gone too deep.
Oh, closing in fast. Now at a 1.8 second gap here as we're following Cook.
That's the
They're
tyres.
getting closer.
Sky's
must be
tyres.
feeling the pressure now.
They are screaming in pain, the tyres on this McLaren. Sky has massaged them beautifully then for nearly 58 minutes, but they are just starting to go on him. Can Cook really press home this advantage? We might be on the last lap here, but he might get up to him. It's getting past the McLaren that's going to be difficult. I will keep on this. I will keep on this battle.
To remember how impressive this is, Cook is driving in the AM split, so I'm predicting he might get a friendly message from our dear Jim Fengler after this race, asking if he wants to move up to the silver split.
It's still a class win for Cook, but you want that P1 on the road, don't you?
Yeah, it's as far as I can see, unless I am mistaken, Patton is the next AM driver down in 16.
I think you're right.
So there is a 15 position gap.
Cook is able to just brake so much, like he's got so much more grip available to him now.
Following Cook here on the stream now with a 0.3 gap. He's really bringing the fight to Sky. Again, we are looking at an AM driver fighting for the overall win here.
He just got that chicane wrong there, the left-right, which just cost him a bit of time. Really a nice braking though. Reels all that time back in.
Last few corners here, running out of chances. On to the start-finish straight. An end to traffic.
Is that it? Is that the race done? Sky takes the win by 0.1 seconds.
Gap. That's
Gents, what a phenomenal race you gave us there.
Applause for Dave Cook. That is phenomenal.
Absolutely amazing. Bakker's going to bring it home in P3, which don't forget is going to be a P2 class result.
Brewery is still trying to fight Oaks for the last part of this race. They are the closest battle going on track right now.
As Jack Christie takes Christie Household Honours. Go on.
Jumping on the inside there, but going very wide. Also making contact, but not taking anyone out. Definitely trying to make that last desperate move now, having lost some time, not being close enough to do anything. Stancer here also very close to Van der Haar as they make their way towards the finish line. We have checkered flag for 10th, checkered flag for 11th, 13th, and 14th for D. Christie, who had some unlucky incidents here towards the end of the race. Let's follow Irvin here as he's making his way through the last few corners in that new Ferrari. It's an absolutely beautiful car, but that antenna, man, it looks so silly.
It looks like an airplane, doesn't it? You know, I used to have them things sticking out of airplanes. Just a notable mention,
Sticker flag.
Just
now
purely.
Patton being last to cross the finish line here, taking home the 16th position.
Bakker started P14, and he claims
that is
P3 overall.
What a drive! That is amazing. That has to be the most position gain.
It is.
One more second for the graphic to update. 11 positions. Yeah, that's the most out of anyone. The only other driver being close is Christie Jr. having climbed 5 positions.
Yeah, he's had a great drive as well. Absolutely fantastic drive for Junior Christie, or Jack Christie is better known. He will be ecstatic with that one. Dad maybe less so, who dropped out of the top 10. But all credits, all plaudits and admiration has to go for that drive by Sky, not taking tyres, keeping track position and just keeping it right at the end. Fantastic race that.
Yeah, that's amazing. See, we have Ike Sky here in the waiting room, ready for his winner's interview. Hopefully we can get Cook in here as well, but for now we'll pull Ike over. Hello, Ike. Welcome to the studio. Congratulations on the win.
Hi, Adrian. Hi, Chris.
Hello.
Interesting race.
Very.
Sincerely.
So,
yeah, I still have yet to look at the replay. That was not the way I wanted to win it, but screw it. If it's a win, it's a win. Yeah, I do like it. I do like to do things the hard way.
Can I ask what was the decision?
You had us.
Go on.
Yeah, sorry.
I was going to ask, was the decision to not take tyres a strategy call, or was that just you forgot the time?
So I was never going to take tyres. The setup that I had with the car was comfortable for an hour. If I hadn't have had an altercation, let's be nice, with Dave, I think it was, then I would have had so much life left in the rear tyres that I would have walked it by the end of the race. There was never any question about me not taking tyres. It was just a slightly elongated pit stop, obviously because of the damage, which is frustrating. But if this is how the rest of the season is going to go, then it's going to be an interesting one for sure.
Yeah, I mean you had Cook, who don't forget is an AM driver. Well, for now is an AM driver. Absolutely stunning quality lap, kept it out of front when the race started. What was your early thoughts like in the race then with regards to your track position? Was it a consolidate at the start, massage the tyres all the way through? The way you were driving, the consistency was absolutely perfect the entire way through, and I just think you, from my perspective anyway, your plan just seemed to be to massage your way to the end.
Yeah, that was so. I tried a couple of times to attack for the lead, but it was really quite apparent that Cook wasn't aware if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
Guys, I'm sorry, but I just got a text. We have no audio for the interview, so I have
Oh.
to get that
nice.
fixed.
That's cool. That's fine.
Once again, something.
I wonder if we have it on
Let's
my
see.
stream.
That's weird. That so have they not been able to hear Chris this entire time as well?
Yeah, they have. It's just this particular scene in the thing.
Gotcha.
Oh, very
Let's
strange.
see.
He's being very clever. Right, what happened here? I need to, because I don't actually know what happened here.
Yeah, so they should actually have possibly my audio, but I'm not sure.
Really?
Okay. Let's see. Try now.
I'll just check my stream, and you can all be heard on my stream.
Yes, now we have audio.
Excellent. Yeah. So
let's do the entire interview again.
Apparently I owe shots. Because that's what happens when a logistical nightmare driver wins a race or gets a podium, is they have to do shots. So now I owe shots, which is great. These are the kinds of things that we like to do. Yeah, really, really difficult race. Obviously, all the things I have to do the hard way, apparently. And if it wasn't for the altercation with Cook, which if I had known he was an AM car, then I wouldn't have even bothered. But yeah, if I had known he was an AM, I wouldn't have bothered. The Mercedes was untouchable in the straights. I had a fairly low drag setup, and it was absolutely untouchable. Although apparently it was burning its rear tyres, which is really good to know. Bearing in mind, yeah, again, I was able to nurse the tyres. As you said, when I went for a move, I think once, and he just turned in on me, which is fine. He's more than entitled to. I didn't have the overlap, but I was just probing and seeing what the play was. The attack that I actually went for, either he braked early or I braked late, but I had enough confidence in the car to brake where I did, and I got the car slowed down, and he turned in on me. Again, from my perspective, we'll let the stewards deal with it. And then obviously I got spun into the Porsche, and a little bit, I think it was 8 seconds of damage and cooked rear tyres, which obviously fatigued them a bit. But the 30 seconds that I would have lost getting new tyres on at that point in the race wouldn't have really paid off for the amount of pace I would have gained. So the choice was never going to be to take tyres. There was enough with the conditions that we had, with the way that the McLaren was handling. It's just so kind to its tyres, and it switches them on like a light switch as well. It's such a beautiful car. I mean, the old one was just as good, but this is it's just the slightest step further, a little bit more customization. I absolutely love this car.
I have to say, incredible race. You had us at the edge of our seats in that last part. I can see that Dave is in the waiting room, so I'm gonna pull him in now, and we can have sort of a conversation.
Haha.
Really proud of.
Welcome, Dave.
Hey, David.
Hello.
Dave, can I just, before anyone talks, I just want to do one thing.
Race.
Just, I'm applauding.
It's absolutely incredible. So, you are an AM driver, and you were battling there for the overall win. I think you might be getting a text from Christian after this, asking if you want to move up into silver. But I'm not going to speak for the man.
No, of course. Like, first of all, like, I don't know what I think this is going to be a question that comes up, but like, I don't know what happened initially in the beginning with me and Ike when, like, he went spinning off. I'm not quite sure what happened, to be honest. We were side by side, and then like we just made some contact even, and just kind of want to say that was completely accidental, and like
of course.
Like, of course.
I figured it was. I mean, if I had known you were in AM class, then I wouldn't have. Obviously, I wouldn't have gone for the pass. In reality, I was being more pressured by the Porsche behind.
Yeah.
Than anything. It was more of a look. Can I come past, please? Because I need the space. I didn't know who I was fighting at that point in the race.
Okay.
So it was just like it's that karting thing. You overtake the cars until there's no more cars to overtake.
Yes.
Sort of.
Yeah.
And that's where it was. I had more confidence on the brakes, went for the gap, had the car slowed down, and it felt as though you turned in on me. That's all I'll say. But yeah.
I did try and leave you the space, so just so that's out there. I did try. It wasn't like I didn't know you were there. I had the radar on, so I was aware you were there. But I did try, but obviously I didn't do enough. But obviously we'll go through the replay and then we'll
exactly.
Take it from
it's
there.
all good. It's all good.
For how long have you been racing, Dave?
Literally, okay, so here's the thing. I actually started in season 7. I was in the Lexus. Season 6 even, apologies. And I've been racing on Gran Turismo Sport. That was like 4 years ago now, like back when I was in film school. And then I've just kind of moved up from Gran Turismo and wanted a better experience with racing, and then gradually when Sim Racing GP came around, I looked around, found ERA, and then this has just been a wonderful community to be in. And then when I got into the Merc and actually started practicing a little more, coming into the practice servers, like Ike as well, Darius, and someone's name I'm forgetting now. Who was it? Lewis. Lewis helped me out with setups, and then all of a sudden I came out with pace like that. It was totally unexpected, to be honest, as my second season. I didn't expect to be fighting for the overall win.
So what I'm hearing is, with the help that I've given you, you kind of owe me a win anyway.
Yeah, basically.
He's got that wild card to play at some
second
point.
season, what an amazing drive.
Yeah, amazing.
Just very, very consistent and fast.
Yeah, my kind of thing is to do what Lewis Hamilton did to Max Verstappen back in Hungary. I think it was 2018 or something like that, maybe 2020. I'm not sure, but it was to go long on the first tire that you're on, kind of go through the worst of that, and then with about 20 to 25 minutes to go, get onto a better tire. Then you're on better tires than everyone around you. That's always my strategy. I always go long in the first stint so that I can fully attack in the second stint.
Yeah,
we talked a little bit about on the stream when you were running into traffic. That might have been a good time to pit to not lose time stuck behind other cars.
Yes, look, without naming names, there was a bit of trouble I had with some traffic. I'm not gonna name names. I'm sure we internally we'll review it, and I expect the stewards we'll look at it as well, and I will report what happened because I didn't quite feel it was right. But that's a discussion for another time. I'm not really going to go into that.
It's important to remember in GT3 with the blue flag, they are obligated not to fight you, but not obligated to let you pass.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting him to let me pass, but at the same time I didn't want to fight because obviously I built up that gap between Ike and Lorenz, and he just kind of felt. I just felt I was a little bit incensed that went, but then in the end I was just once I got past him I was like, okay, just move on, it's fine, just build it up again, you can do it, you have the pace, and that's just what I did. I just was just move on.
Well, the thing is that was what put me in position to attack. That's what that lap traffic was what put me in a position to attack, and I could see the frustration growing on you. I don't think that you actually recovered from that, psychologically speaking, because I was faster than you after that.
Yeah, no, it does take me a few minutes, put it that way. Yeah. So you did have a window there. I won't lie.
No, for sure. It was really good fun though.
It was very good fun.
And it was more. I'll be fair. It was more entertaining getting. I think I went down to 23rd overall when I pitted, because I pitted the lap that we made contact, fixed the damage, litre of fuel, and just sent it. And just there's nothing more satisfying than going past the pits and just seeing the position counter count down. And eventually it was okay, I can see where David is now. I can see where how far ahead he is, and I was counting back as I was going round. I was counting back. Am I going to catch him? Am I going to catch him? And then when you eventually pitted, I was like, damn it, too much of a gap. And then obviously you took tyres, and it's oh, this became very different. And I think it was a lap before that, I got a slow puncture on the rear right tyre.
Ah.
That's where the performance went.
Ah, right, yeah, because I got to a certain point with I think 4 to 5 minutes to go. I just made a tiny error, and I was like, no, that's gone now. And I just kind of stuck to my lines and then made sure I could Like, you know, just at least putting the best effort in, and then all of a sudden, like, we were on the final lap, and then down the first main straight, like, I was like 0.6, I was like, okay, we're on again.
Yeah, so my tyres kind of fell off a cliff. They were very, very gone past their use-by date. It was literally 3 laps from the end, and they just it was a noticeable. My braking point had to move back.
I was watching that on the stream actually, as it were, because I kept a very close eye on you two the last couple of laps.
Yeah,
and I was sort of basically looking at where you were braking and how you were attacking the corners, and I could just tell your tyres the last sort of 10 minutes they were just going and going and going, and for a while the gap between you and Dave was like 7 seconds and it didn't move, and then there was one occasion where you just snapped the brake a little too late, you locked a wheel, that was it, tyre went, and Dave was just like bang, reeled you really in. And do you know what the gap was at the line?
0.338.
Yeah, it was a nuts wiener.
It's all right. We'll try and keep it that close the rest of the season.
Please do, because that was a great watch.
Definitely a banger of an opening.
Yeah.
This was one of the more exciting races I have followed in the array.
Good.
And my first one to commentate on, so thanks for giving me something to talk about, chaps.
Yes, I was literally saying that. Like, after we had that little thing with the lap traffic, I was like, at least I'm given something the commentators to talk about.
Yeah, appreciate that, bud. The amount of boring races I've had to just sit there and waffle absolute nonsense to, and you, well, the whole field really made it an absolute pleasure. So hopefully more of that for the entire season, please. And thank you very much for what you've provided us as far as entertainment goes.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you very much for everything you're doing as well.
Yeah, no, thank you for the effort you're putting in as well. It's always appreciated.
So we'll catch you in a bit.
But well done, chaps. Yeah. Well done. Go and have a beer. You've earned it.
Thank you guys so much.
Oh, that's the plan.
And, have a nice evening.
Bye.
Bye. Alright. So, I think that's it to round out for ourselves now, Adrian.
Yep, so I'm playing the intro now. I just have to make sure I have the sound actually going out. Should be okay now. Yeah, so playing the intro, and then after that I'll go to the close stream screen thingy and just leave that for a few seconds, and then I'll stop the stream.
Perfect. Alright, well, thank you to everyone for watching, and I'll catch you all next week.
Oh yeah, I already went to the intro video. So
oh, I'm still I'm still live on my end. Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
I'm just watching the highlights with my guys. I'll finish watching this highlights reel, and then I'll close out. So I'll leave the Discord chat for now, Adrian, and I'll chat to you in comms chat in a little bit.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, bud. See you in a bit. Bye.
Later.
So it's just us. So we're just watching highlights. I thought we'd put it on in the background while we did the post-race interviews. But what a race! I mean, that was brilliant racing from everyone. There was a little bit of contact, a little bit of EBGBs. You got to get that first race in any league, I think. Grand scheme of things, the standard of racing that we just watched was top tier. Hello there, Teddy, and thank you very much, by the way, for the follows and the comments and everything else. I have been seeing it coming in. Belarusian Jackal, Anna Arinkas was another one. Thank you very much. G-Day for the follow. Habibo for the follow as well. Teddy, hello. Yeah, managing tyres. Look, it's front left, Indiana. You've got diamond cut, cambered corners here. Your tyres are going to get ripped to shreds if you're not careful with them. Which is why I was so surprised about Sky's strategy. The car on screen now, like, to not take tyres for an hour there, it must have had a really kind setup on those tyres, because, to be fair, it should have struggled. But obviously he was okay. But Josh, yeah, not a bad race for you, bud. How did you get on, Teddy, in yours? Nearly at the end of this highlight reel, I think now. Oh, we're about halfway through, actually. I can't change the camera angle, or can I? No, because I can't click on out on my screen for some reason. I think it's because I'm in spectator mode or something weird. It won't let me do it. Qualified P1. Oh, jeez, well done, mate. No wonder you're in a good mood. congrats, dude. Well, this is my first go commentating, so I would genuinely appreciate some constructive criticism, feedback and all that sort of stuff. It's been a while since I did my last commentary. The last time I did commentary was on a completely different sim on a PlayStation. That was a couple of years ago. So to do it again, I've actually enjoyed it. It's a bit different. Yeah, once I close the stream, mate, it'll be available immediately on Twitch, and I'll export it to YouTube as well for people that want to watch it on there. So you'll have your options. Yeah. Genuine feedback would be appreciated. But yeah, you'll be able to watch it back immediately, Josh. As soon as I end it, it'll be there. So Twitch is quite good at that sort of stuff. YouTube, it used to take a day for the videos to process, which is why I stopped using it. Got really annoying in the end. I'm glad to hear everyone had a good opener. Genuinely enjoyed it. Co-coms with Adrian, really nice guy, really good commentator as well. Kept the action flowing, really good awareness of gaps and what's going on in the race. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Big field of drivers as well. Just trying to find that. What's getting back into it now? I'm quicker. You've never been slow, Josh. This is the thing, mate. You just needed to get used to the sim. Like, I said this to you at the start when you were whinging, and I was like, "You'll be fine." Well, you just need a few weeks. You just needed the time, and you just needed seat time. Now you've got that, like, you're fine. You know what I mean? And to be fair, mate, I haven't driven on the sim in a while, so I will have genuinely lost some pace. I'll have to work quite hard at getting it back. Won't be easy. Yeah, mate, you're getting there. Like tonight's, but I didn't see you make a mistake, dude. So, and I will be the most critical of you. Heh, 36 in testing. Was that before the race tonight? Oh, did you? Ah, fair enough. Yeah, well, this is the thing. Like, it's a tyre kill. I mean, the front wheel drives are always going to be a bit nastier on the front tyres, aren't they? Yeah, last night. I don't know what my pace would have been round here, to be fair. I don't know what the pro lads were doing, but I'm usually there or thereabouts their pace. It's a difficult track to perfect. You can be consistent at Indy, but to get that like one lap out of it is actually quite difficult because you've got to hit all your apexes perfect, and some of them have got giant sausages on it. Daytime, yeah, it threw me as well. Because I looked at the settings before and it says the time, and the time was like night, like 8 o'clock, something like that, 2000, and it was daytime. Like, I don't remember Indianapolis being daylight at 8 PM, you know, it was a bit of a strange one. Lewis and that bloody GTR. Summer solstice, yeah. It's like Finland, isn't it? You know, where the sun never sets. Like it's in the Arctic Circle. Might do a 24-hour race and it's all in the daytime, just to spin you out. Be like running the game with the hacks on. There's a nice overtake there. Lidchen in the Porsche, new 992. The Aston's definitely still got a place. Yeah, to be fair, I had a bit. I wanted to give myself a little bit of time away, as you know. It's healthy. It means that when you come back, you actually want to be here instead of feeling obligated to do it. And mate, I'll do that from time to time. I'll race 2 or 3 seasons, and I'll take a season out. But with this, at least with commentary, I'm not. There's no pressure, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just sitting here talking. I'm not practicing for it, really. There's a little bit of prep work involved, like, but not a lot. Oh, are you? Oh, yeah, I remember you saying you're going away. Yeah, I'll have the odd thing on. I'll miss the odd one, but I've got some karting stuff happening soon, so I might miss one or two. I need to get myself a little fan. That's what I need, because I was toasting that entire race. I think my testicles have been cut. Skoda boat. Oh man, mate, mine made it to Belgium and back. Like, perfect. Water pump failure. Common issue apparently. Common issue. I've been really closely keeping an eye on my coolant levels, because apparently that happens. Oh, Jesus Christ. So poor just kill itself on screen. Yeah, apparently it's a common thing, mate. Like plastic pumps or something. But yeah, I got to Belgium and back, like, no issue really. Oh, did he? Naughty boy. Well, easy repair, mate, and a common one as well. So you know, it's not the end of the world. Not ideal not having your car, like, is it? But it's not the end of the world. I should have started these highlights playing earlier, shouldn't I? Hopefully it's different. I want to know why I can't change camera angles. Yeah, I can do that, look. I just can't click on these. It's weird. I wonder if it's because I've got the overlays. Let me just see if I can move them. Get rid of them a sec. Oh yeah, it was the overlays that were causing the issues. So I could have just done this all along, you see. You'd had a better view. I don't. What it has ACC had an update, because it's a bit buggier now. It's a bit more of a pain in the arse for some reason. No, wrong one. No, wrong one. There we go. Move you. Right, okay. It's fucking not ideal, mate, is it? Credit to it though, it's normally quite a stable game, but yeah, tonight I've just noticed it's been a bit crappy. Alright, I think as we're on the race finish highlight now, P5 provisionally, excellent, well done. I think, ladies and gents, that's gonna be about it from me as we watch Sky take the checkered flag. Just about, yeah, just about. So thank you very much for watching. If you have, thank you for the follows, those of you that have followed along the way as well, so you'll get notified when I go live next time, which will be for next week's race. Don't forget to tune in next Sunday. It's about 7:30 roughly I'll be live. Until then, take care of yourselves, enjoy the week, and we'll see you back on track.